Okay, any suggestions for rituals a la Dia de los Muertos that are helpful for working with grief and reshaping relationships with death and dying? Well, yeah, and this question must come in similarly to the one above. I need to really actually go study this, because there are rituals out there. There are things that have been done. Again, this is ancient stuff. And I wish I had a more facile response to these good questions. So one is a key for me to go poking around some more. But Dia de los Muertos is a big one, the Day of the Dead. Right there is a huge one to tap into. You know, if you come to the Mission District in San Francisco, you can experience Dia de los Muertos. But the whole idea, the whole premise is, rather than trying to shut out this obnoxious thing, because ostensibly the guy's gone, so I got to move on, this thing needs to get out of my frame of view. The opposite experience here is no. Expanding your frame of reference to include the loss, include the death, and then work with it, play with it, fight it, to do any, laugh at it, decorate it. It doesn't matter so much. The idea is to have some sort of relationship with the loss in an active way, not like a relationship with the past, an active present relationship. I think that's the potency, especially with something like Dia de los Muertos, to the degree I understand that tradition. So I wish I had better answers for you, but it's a good cause for all of us to go talk to our anthropology friends and sociology friends and just pay attention. I think one of the great cues into a culture is, how do they handle aging? How do they handle death? How do they handle loss? Besides just instructive for us, it's also just downright fascinating. So there's a lot waiting for us. I hope to have better answers to these good questions down the road. So moving on to the next question here. Society expects you to get over grief. My grief is a real active relationship that never ends. We need people to accept that it's uncomfortable, messy, and doesn't go away. Well, amen. If I could share your first name, Leslie, safely. Amen. This is like, honestly, guys, these days in particular, if we had to name one muscle to exercise that could help us through, I really believe it would be grief. That is the way we can relate. We can craft a sense of reality that's big enough to hold things like death and loss. And if we can craft that reality, we can craft a reality that really is big enough to hold everybody. We're in such divisive times. I think grief would allow us to reground and find that common ground that we all share across culture, across wealth, across sex, across everything, even across species. So amen to your point here, Leslie. I honestly think for each of us, developing our own ways to grieve, but then as a group, as society, accepting grief, not just accepting with it, but even reveling in it, because it means we love, it means we care, and it adds significance to our relationships. We're not just two people like cosmic dust who happen to bump into each other and that's it, and on we go. No, we're much more interesting critters than that. So I love your point. I think this is the way forward for society right now. I hope, this enters politics. I hope grieving is something that we can talk about openly and actively make space for. I hope that societies make public artworks to connote grief, to honor grief, to have a place to hold loss. We'd all be so much better off, because no one's going to escape grief. So amen. Thank you.